Okay. Last session we discussed about invoice types. Right? We discussed all types and what is the purpose. Right? So we all discussed. Now today we'll talk about payment types. Let's see payment types. Basically, we have four type of payment types. Just remember, payment terms, payment methods, payment types. Three are totally different. Okay. Don't get confused with those terms. Payment types, payment terms, and payment methods. We are going to talk about payment types. When we talk about payment types, we have a payment type called as manual payments, and quick payments, and we have refund as a payment type. The fourth type is APR netting. APR netting. Okay, we have four type of payments and payables. Those are manual, quick, refund, and APR netting. What is the meaning of manual payment? Any idea? You call as cash payment is manual payment. Okay, nothing wrong. What else?
Manually paying by going to the organization pay.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of giving electronic check, we given as the manual.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, fine. All definitions are correct. But here, system point of view, what we have to understand, manual in the sense, we are not going to print any check from the system. Simply what we do, we'll have a check leaf, check with us, manual will be writing. That's how we'll prepare the check. Okay, we'll be having some stationery, right? The pre-printed stationery, which we call. What are the checks we get from the banker? That is pre-printed stationery, generally we call it. So on that we'll be writing to whom we have to pay, how much we have to pay, the amount and in rupees, and we'll sign it, and we'll be just giving to suppliers. That process we call as manual payment. Okay, when you are writing the payments and all, when you are making the payments by writing through manual process, that payment information you have to maintain in the system, right? If you are processing through system, okay, fine. But you are doing outside of the system. Outside the system, you are generating the payment. You are making the payment. So once you write the check, say I have to pay $10,000. I'll write the check and I'll give it to my supplier. But I have to make a note in the system, right? So if I'm making the payment, definitely there will be some invoice in the system. I have to specify in the system against so invoice through manual process payment is given. That's what I have to record. That means I have to record the payment in the system. But process wise, the actual activity you are doing outside the system, whatever you did that you are going to record in the system. This process only we call as manual payments. In case of manual payments, what we do is we'll be processing the check outside of the system. The same information will be recording in the system. That process we call as manual payments. Okay, outside of the system will be processing the check or say payment in generic way. Take a very specific to check. Outside of the system will process the check. That means manual will be writing and giving to the supplier. The same information we will record in the system. Outside of the system we will process the check to the supplier, process the payment to supplier through check by writing the manual process. Okay, and the same information will be recording in the system. That process we call as manual payment. Another way is to just the very simple definition is the process. I mean, if you are not going to print the checks from the system, that simply you can call as manual payments. If you are not printing, definitely you have to submit the check to the supplier. That manual will be writing. That's all. Okay, that's for just simple understanding. Clear, right? When you talk about quick payment, so manual payment. The second one is quick payment. Generally, the quick payment process we use when you want to print the check from system. That's it. Okay, by using the quick payment process, what we can do, we can print the check from system. Why you are calling this as quick? Because everything we are doing in the system only. Invoice we are creating in the system, against the invoice you are going to make the payment. Okay, so that's the reason within the system only will be managing with this information. What are the information we have in the supply invoice level? The same, by using the same information we can make the payment. So again we are not going to work on some additional process of giving all the information for making the payment. So in the system point of view, quickly you can do that. If you are doing through manual will be writing again, that will be entering in the system. That is a different process. But here, okay, easily you can process since you are doing everything in the system. Again, there is no additional activity which you have to record outside of the system. Okay, so in quick payments, what we do, we'll process the checks from the system only. It's simple. Whether you are doing this payment process, okay, actual check printing. If you take payment method check, if you take example of check related payments process, if you are printing the check from the system, that we call as quick payment. If you are not printing from the system, you are writing through manual process, you are giving the same information, you are recording the system, that we call as manual. That's the difference we have to understand. One is checks will generate from check, other option is we never generate the checks from system, that everything always will write through manual process. And other payment type is refund. It's very simple. Already we discussed, right? Prepayment invoice. How many type of prepayment invoices we have? Two types. One is
Temporary and permanent.
permanent. In case of temporary, what is the approach? What is the process?
The future transaction can be adjusted.
Future. Okay, once you give advance, that amount can be adjusted on future transactions. So if you take that case, okay, or else if you take permanent case, we'll give some advance and supplier won't allow us to use, and whatever you purchase you have to pay. But once you cancel the contract,
And then refund.
then he has to refund, right? Any case you can take. So take one first example. You given some advance, say 10 lakhs you given, up to 9 lakhs you purchase, then you don't want to proceed, go ahead with the same supplier. You want to stop the buying the material or taking the services. In that case, once you stop, just the supplier has to refund that remaining 1 lakh, right? You given advance 10 lakhs and used up to 9 lakhs, remaining 1 lakh he has to refund supplier. Other case is you given permanent prepayment and you purchase for long period. After that you want to stop taking the services from the supplier. In that case, what are the security deposit you given as a permanent prepayment, that amount supplier has to refund, right? So when we get the refund from the supplier, some scenarios employee also, when employee is traveling, we discussed expense report invoice, right? What is expense report invoice? When employee submits some expense, based on that we'll create the report. From the report we'll generate the invoice called as expense report invoice. When employee is traveling, there will be two options. One, first case is employee may spend that expense from his pocket, and other option is he may get some advance from organization. Take simple example, employee got advance from the organization, say 20,000, but as per his travel and whatever accommodations, he spent only 15,000. Remaining 5,000 the employee has to refund. Okay, that refund is applicable for employees or suppliers. When suppliers, in case of advance, when you give advance, generally the refunds will happen. Even for employees also, when you give advance only, the refunds organization will get. So in these scenarios, if employee or supplier is going to refund the amount to organization, that scenario, by using the payment type called as refund, we will record it. Simple point. To record the employee or supplier refunds, we can use refund payment type. To record the employee or supplier refunds, we can use the payment type called as refund. Just I am trying to give you some point what is the meaning of it. When you are working in the system, I'll explain you. We'll take the case, what setups need to be done, everything we'll discuss detail level we'll be doing in the system. But now before getting into the system, let's try to understand what exactly the refund is, what is the scenario, what is the business case. Okay, clear, right? Manual means Outside system will prepare the check. Quick means through system will prepare. Refund means when you get refund from supplier or employee, that will record in the system as a refund. Okay. And other payment type is AP or netting. Basically, when we are working on AP, only AP, you cannot handle this. Okay, once you implement AR also you can do it, but practically we'll be testing this when we are working on receivables. Since that is a part, this is a part of payables, we'll try to understand this concept. Now, basically, I'll explain when we are going to do in the system. Again, I'll be adding few more points for your better understanding. I'll take simple example here. Say we have organization A and organization B. Okay, we have organization A and organization B. So organization A is purchasing from organization B. In that case, what organization A has to do? And before that, organization A is purchasing from organization B. What B has to do?
We have to record all this.
They have to record what? No, just you are from the previous batch.
No, sir. I attended up to my day of
Okay.
record the sales.
No, I just remember as you attended in I have seen in previous classes, maybe long back in multiple batches that way.
No, sir. Only one day up to my day.
Okay, fine. Maybe I'm wrong. No issues. Let's leave it. Fine. So organization B. Okay, organization A is going to buy from organization B. Okay. So in that case, when organization B is selling to organization A, what they do what they record in their books? Finance point of view. Don't talk about the complete P2P and O2C cycle point of view. Finance, just finance. You tell me. Anyone? Sales invoice. Where they record? In AP or where? Sorry? Don't show me, just tell me. Sorry? Yeah. Organization B will be recording the, what they'll record? Sales invoice. In their AR application. If they are using Oracle, otherwise they may use some different system also, doesn't matter. They'll be recording. Okay. Say they sold for 25,000. They'll record 25,000. Done. Now these people, organization B is selling to organization A. Organization A. So in that case, what organization A will record? Organization A will record AP. It can be Oracle AP or ABC AP, doesn't matter. They'll have some different applications or different softwares or whatever. Generally, activity based we are calling as AP and AR. Okay. So in AP system, what they'll record? They'll record purchase invoice. For how much amount? 25. Okay. Common answers are not required. One specific person can answer it. So that will be good. Okay. Whatever we completed, then okay. Just anyway, there also will be asking. But here, let me understand few points from you only. Then, in this case, tell me who is the supplier and who is the customer. Who is the supplier to whom and who is the customer to whom? One person, anyone. Yeah, tell me. Organization B is the supplier for A, and organization A is what for B? Customer. Others, why they are just please. Okay, done. Now I'm taking a different case. Now current case, A is purchasing from B. Based on that transaction, there is some relation. That means organization A is acting as customer, organization B is acting as supplier. That is for sure, right? So now organization B is going to buy from organization A. Organization B is going to buy from organization A. Now say the transaction amount is 15,000. So now who is selling? A is selling to B. Now A, what they do when they do the sales? One person, please.
A is the supplier.
A is the supplier only. What they do in their system? No? Yeah, you tell me, please. Yeah, in account receivables, they'll record the sales invoice. For how much amount? 15,000. The same invoice organization A will be sending to B, and they'll record in their books as which application or which department? AP. Two are different organizations. Please remember that. Now, what is the relationship based on this transaction? What is the relationship between organization A and B?
Both are acting as a supplier as well as a customer.
Based on organization B, based on the second transaction, I am asking. Based on second transaction, organization A is acting as a supplier, organization B is acting as a customer. Based on previous transaction, A acted as a customer, B acted as a supplier. That means two organizations, okay, have a transactions where in one transaction one organization is supplier, another transaction same organization is customer. Same organization in one transaction acting as supplier, another transaction acting as a customer. So in this scenario, if this is the case, normal practice, very traditional process, what happens is, so how much A has to pay? 25,000. Generally, the A will be paying 25,000 to B. For that, they will be printing or writing the check. They will be sending. It takes some time to print or to send the check. The organization B has to receive the check. After that, they have to record in their books. Again, they have to send to bank for clearing. Then they have to do the clearing process. Once that is done, amount will be get credited to B account, and for that bank will be charging some charges, right? There will be some bank charges. To do this process, people has to involve, right? People has to involve, again time taking. For sure, in all the process, this is how it happens.
As per the
Now, B has to pay to A. In that case, A has to write the check for 15,000. Then they have to send to A. A has to go on to deposit check in the bank for clearing. They have to wait till that get cleared. Then they'll get the payment. Again, there could be some bank charges from organization A. Also, people has to involve in this process. These all are involved in this kind of process. Okay, normal process. But if this kind of situation, if you see, same organization is acting as supplier and customer. If any organization has a business transactions with other organization where they got relationship as a based on transaction, supplier and customer, in that case, instead of going with the traditional process where one organization will pay to other they'll deposit, they'll get it, again that organization will be giving the payment to this organization, again they do go with a very standard process. Instead of doing all those things, to save the time, okay, to save the time and to save the resource effort and to save the bank charges and to simplify the process, what they can commit is they can do the settlement, right? So now as per this, you tell me organization how much has to pay? 10,000. Be very clear here. Don't give some unnecessary answers. I am going to ask one question. Okay, it's a simple thing. It's a very simple. Organization A has to pay 25. At the same time, organization B has to pay to A how much? 15,000. Now, if they settle, how much organization A has to pay to B?
10,000.
Sorry, only 10. Because anyway, organization B has to pay 15. Now, organization A can inform to B, I have to pay you 25. Anyway, you have to pay 15. Let's settle 15,000. The remaining amount, 10,000, I'll be paying to you. Then process simplified. Just these people will pay, that's all. Again, B has to pay to A, not required. That's just they'll do the settlement. Okay, settlement. So, in this scenario, just forget about B. Think A is our organization. So, in AP, organization A you can see as a supplier. In AR, organization A you can see as a customer. That means this between these two transactions only will be doing the settlement. But we'll speak with our party, organization B. But within our system, we'll do the settlement where the transactions are belongs to two different applications, right? AP and yeah. Between these two transactions only we'll do the settlement. So that means the settlement we are doing between AP and yeah. That is the reason that concept we call as APR netting. Take simple definition. Clear, right? Concept. Okay, if one organization, if organization or you can say party or organization, everything same, or one entity you can say anything. Okay, if any party is acting as supplier and customer, Say if one party is acting as supplier and customer, if one party is acting as supplier and customer, instead of going with instead of going with okay traditional payment process or standard payment process, means we will pay and they'll pay. Okay, or I'll say in this way. Okay, if one party is acting as supplier and customer, instead of paying each other, say paying each other means one to other to, okay, instead of paying each other means other organization with other organization. If one party is acting as supplier and customer, instead of paying each other, we can do the settlement. We can do the settlement by using APR netting concept. Okay, we can do the settlement by using APR netting concept. Once again, I am repeating that. Okay, what we discussed: if one party is acting as supplier and customer based on business relationship, right? So instead of paying each other, or else you can say instead of going with a very traditional transaction process or payment process, we can go with the settlement by using the. We can do the settlement by using APR netting concept. That's all. Okay, when we are working on receivables only, we can do. By the time anyway our payables will be ready, and once AP setups also ready, then only we can create the transaction, we can test this functionality. Okay, but now just try to understand the concept. Clear, right?
Yes.
Done. Right. So now we'll see the payable setups. Okay, we'll see the payable setup, basic setups. We'll see. After setups, we'll create one invoice and we'll create one payment. After doing that, we'll get some good understanding about payables, how the process will work. We have many concepts that what we'll do is after we'll do the setups, we'll have one invoice, we'll record on payment, then we'll get more clarity. Then I'll talk about the purchasing related integrations. Okay, receipt routing methods, right? And matching options we'll discuss. Then we'll start working on the P2P cycle, and we'll touch all the concepts which we have in the payable, these invoice types and these payment types. Other than these invoice types and payment types, we have many other concepts in AP which we have to understand. That also I'll list out, I'll explain you theoretically, then we can start working on the system. Okay, fine. Fine. For this, maybe I'm thinking, I'm expecting around, it may take 7 classes for this payables to complete the payables. In 7 minutes, it will be around 14 to 15 hours we'll be spending for payables. Okay, we'll do one by one. Take the point as AP basic setups. Basic also configuration. Also instead of writing AP payables, generally we just say payables. Payables basic configuration. Okay. So whatever we are discussing the sequence. It can be set up or any concept. Okay, concepts only we can discuss randomly, also not an issue. But setups, primarily when we are talking about setups, all we are discussing in the very sequence, the same process you have to follow when you are doing in the system also. Okay, fine. So to talk about payables basic configuration, first we have to configure financial options. Okay, or say just so before financial options, say take this part. Configure payables system setup. So configure financials options. So configure payable options. Okay, right. So create payment terms, create distribution sets, create supplier and sets. Already supplier and sites we created from purchasing, but once again we'll create because we have a different uh, concepts where we need more than one supplier to test that functionality. In that case, that we can use it. Okay, create supplier and sites, and so create bank account, create payment process profile. So open payables periods. These are very basic. We have few more also that will be covering when we are just once we start with the process. I'll be taking those setups which are relevant to different features. Okay, we have concepts called as holds. Okay, hold concept we have, and we have a different other many miscellaneous concept that we'll be discussing, but these are the very basic setups, and we have a few more other setups also. Those whenever we require, based on the concept which we are working, we'll discuss and we'll be working on that. Okay, but now these are the very basic setups which we have to touch base. So we have to configure payable system setup and financial options, payable options, payment terms, distribution sets, supplier and site, bank account. When you say bank account, here there are multiple setups are involved, but anytime you can take as a bank account, and within that we have different subtasks, like we have to create the bank, we have to create the branch, then we'll create the account we have to assign to operating it, and we'll discuss about payment formats, payment method related formats and all that. Everything will be there, we'll cover within that. Okay, when we are working on it. Okay, then we'll create the payment process profile and we'll open payables periods. Okay, fine. These are the setups we are going to do. After completing these very basic setups, what we'll do, we'll create the invoice, create invoice. What are the type of invoices we have? These are the types. That means we are going to create standard invoice. We'll create the standard invoice and we'll make the payment. Create payment, so that the simple process you can understand within the payables. Then we'll go back to the P2P cycle. After completing that, we'll go detail level in payables. Another point is when you are working in real time, of course here for testing and all, you'll be testing for your understanding, but when you are working in the real time for any client, these invoices whatever we are creating in AP, almost all invoices will be created based on purchase order information, receipt information and all. Directly we don't create any invoice in the payables, very rare cases. If you are going to create invoice directly in the accounts payables without referring any other information, prior to invoice will be having information like PO, right, and the receipt, all the information will be having, right. So is correcting 1 second. Is correcting 1 second. Okay, we'll be having some background, right. So in the sense like invoice is there, before that there should be some requisition, purchase order, quotation, etc, etc, but all are not required. To create invoice, generally will be using PO information, receipt information, sometimes inspection related information also. That we'll discuss when we talk about matching options. Okay, for now simple point, what I'm trying to say is, we'll create invoice. After doing all setups, we'll create invoice and we'll make the payment. This invoice we are going to create directly in AP. If you create invoice directly in AP without referring any information, that invoice you can call as standalone invoice also. Just make a note. Standalone invoice in the sense, it just directly we are creating. We are not going to depend on PO information or receipt and other information. Okay, directly if you create an invoice in AP, that we call as standalone invoice. This is what we are going to test at very basic level. Then we'll get into that actual concepts and we'll be working whatever. Okay, fine. Then go to payables. Okay, go to payables application. Payables. Just what, we lost the connection or what? One second, let me refresh it. Because one channel of Wi-Fi, it will be connected to server directly. If not, if this is a connection, means I have to connect to remote access only. That got disconnected, I guess. Okay, go to payables. Click on any one of the function to open it. What is the first step we have to complete? We have to do
Configure payable system setup.
configure. Take the same point. Say configure or say setup payable system setup. Anything you can take. Okay. Take the navigation. Setup. Options. Payable system setup. See, whatever the setups will be doing will be just visiting, will be coming to that setups multiple times depending on what are the features we are going to use. But this level, this just we are trying to do setups. We'll try to complete the setup with the basic information, which is a very minimum. Okay. So setup options, payables options. Sorry, payable system setup. You see what is the purpose of this payable system setup. So what are the suppliers you are going to create in the system? The suppliers, you can specify how supplier number should get generated. You can specify whether it's automatic or manual. Just remember whatever the setup you will do here, that is applicable for entire. Okay, entire system, it will be applicable. So that is the reason you don't change it when you are practicing. You keep as a automatic only. Don't change the numbers also. Somebody changes seems to. Okay, automatic numbering, which number and all. Okay. Other one is this control invoice match option that will come to know later. When I talk about payment, you make sure that for which client you are implementing, for which client you are doing this setup, that currency you can select here. Okay, for which client you are doing this implementation for US client, select the USD as a currency. Okay, and this pay group and all separate concepts, when you are working on it, you can understand. For only the major key points here you have to understand is supplier number, how you have to generate, that you have to set. Other thing is what is the invoice currency that you have to set up. That would be enough. The rest of concept, the separate features, will be working on that at that time. Okay, clear, right? Done. If I ask the question where we can set supplier number generation, what you have to say?
In payable setup.
Payables system setup, where we can set receipt number, one person, any one. Please don't give group answer. Tell me where we can set in receipt number.
In purchasing option.
Sorry, what I am asking. What is my question? Next one.
Suppliers.
What is my question, if you don't mind?
Yeah, Supplies number generation.
Wow, come on, yeah. Receipt number I am asking. Where you can set receipt number? Your question also you are taking wrong question means how I can expect right answer. Please. Where we can set the receipt number? No, nowhere. Huh? I was clearly telling, I was requesting, literally I was requesting, please prepare, otherwise you will get into struggles. Please, next one, please. Please, this one. Yeah, please. Please, now don't refer notebooks. So that is not a great job at all. Please, don't mind. Next one, please. Here, you just, can you tell me?
Purchasing.
Purchasing?
In purchasing options.
Yeah, next. Sorry?
Purchasing option.
Purchasing?
Receiving option.
Receiving options. So if you are not preparing, see, nothing, no use at all. If you are doing this course, not great. If you are okay with the subject, yes, that sounds good. It's not like as today's session or yesterday's session, 10 days back that we discussed. Still, if you are not ready, I don't know when you will be ready for this. Okay, we can set in the receiving options. And receiving options, okay, when you are setting those information for specific inventory, will be just specifying how the, what would be the next number generation. And next, where you can set PO number. Next, you PO number. Please, why others, please? Where we can set PO number. Or else at least tell me requisition number. PO or requisition? Sorry? My question is where you can set PO number, or at least just tell me where you can set requisition number. Purchasing information. Next one. No. Purchasing options. Next one. Next one. Next.
Purchasing option.
Purchasing option. Document number.
Yes, document. Purchasing option only. Many people are not aware. Many people don't have confidence to say that. Okay, I'm again telling. See, you have to be okay. On behalf of you, no one can be ready with the knowledge and all to help you. Or so please, you have to start preparing. Okay, we'll be setting in the purchasing options. We'll set the document numbering and all, right? There we'll be setting that. Anyway, we completed payable system setup. What is the next step? What is the next configuration? We have to configure the financial options. So, configure financial options. Next task is configure financials options. See, without taking the proper notes in the class and without reading and without discussing, without giving presentation, without spending good amount of time on the system for practice, you cannot get anything. Even if you get, you'll be struggling and will come out, no doubt. Okay, fine. Okay, navigation is remains same. Only function name is financial options. Navigation same. Task name is configure financials options. Navigation is setup options financials options. Let me ask question one by one. Any chance we just did these setups in past? No, please, I am not asking you.
In purchasing, we have done first step in purchasing.
This setup.
Yes, sir.
Why we did in purchasing?
For
Why we did in purchasing?
mapping accounts.
Why we did? Because this option is available, belongs to 3 modules, right?
Liability.
PO, AP, and FA. This is the common options we discussed. Financial options are common options for payables, fixed FA and AP. But primarily in FA side, we don't use this much. Even there is some sharing available. Primarily we'll use in for purpose of purchasing and payables. That's it. So already we completed. Again, you don't need to do it. Just as a part of payables, we have to touch that. That's the reason I told you as a setup. So same you can see. Whatever you read there, the same you can see from there. Okay. Done. What is the next step?
Table options.
Setup or say configure
Table options.
table options. Take the navigation, same navigation but function is different. Setup options, payables options. Okay, setup options, payables options. Okay, setup options,
Table.
payables options. Okay, this is a payable options form you can see. You just notice different tabs we have. So these option related information will be setting when you are working on relevant concepts. See, when you are working on withholding tax, we'll come here and we'll do the required checkboxes. Will be enabling and will be selecting. When you are working on payment related, you can select here, but by default not mandatory. When you are working on expense report invoice, we'll do these setups. When you are working on interest invoice concept, we'll be touching this. And in the same way, approvals and invoice creation, there are different tabs we have. So anyway, these we have to access this form multiple times when you are working on relevant concepts. By default, okay, nothing is mandatory as a fields and all here, but to create invoice we have to do one setup. Okay, there is nothing but this we have to enable, but now I'm not going to enable. When we are going to do that, why it is required and all, to make you to understand, I'll be enabling that time. Okay, for now nothing. And you are practicing also, just open and go through the tabs and close it, no need to do anything, or else anyway now we'll come to know. So what need to be enabled you'll be knowing by the time when you practice. Accordingly you can do that. Okay, and for now I'm not setting, but you take the navigation, keep that point as a, we have to set up payables options. Okay then. So we completed, done. Now we'll see how to create the
Payment terms.
payment terms. What is the purpose of payment terms? Let me ask from this side. What is the use of payment terms? What is the use of payment terms? We discussed just yesterday, right? Next one, please. Next one. What is use? See, really, I'm telling. If you are not preparing, the course will won't respect us.
You can get discounts and you
Hmm. Next one.
to calculate due dates and discounts.
The same answer. Yes, that is the purpose. With the payment terms, you can calculate the due dates and if applicable discounts also. Okay, then that is the purpose of payment terms. Let's go and create the payment terms. Okay, you can create n number of, that depends on, okay, just how many terms you have with the different suppliers. Accordingly you can create. Who will be giving these terms? Basically supplier will be giving. When we just place the, when you request the quotation, supplier will be giving in the quotation only. This is how I'll be helping you, like these are the terms applicable, then mutually two parties has to accept those only. They'll be getting an invoice. Along with the invoice they'll be maintaining this. That will help the organization to know the due dates and just discount if applicable to calculate the same. Okay, done. So we'll go and create the payment terms. Say create payment terms. Task name is create payment terms. Okay, task name is create payment terms. Take the navigation, setup, invoice, payment terms. Okay, setup, invoice, payment terms. Okay, So now let's see how to create the payment terms. Here I want to create payment terms within 30 days. Okay, in that case I can say 30 days, or else simply I can write as a net 30. Total amount has to be paid within the 30 days. So generally this is how we'll create, but here since it's a practice related environment, testing related, learning related environment, I mean to say within instance, I'll keep our company name as a prefix. Okay, I'll say all free net 30. Everywhere whatever you are doing, just for your identification purpose, what company you are using, for example, that you can keep. Okay, call free net 30, or else simply you can write net 30. That's enough. Okay. So here we have a tab called as due. Here you have to specify due percentage. Just we say we promised to the supplier will pay total amount within 30 days. So here you can say 100% amount will pay in how many days?
30.
Here enter 30 days. Done. Save it. Payment term is ready. Okay. So we'll create one more payment term. Okay. To create one more, click on new. Any doubt or confusion, please? Okay, fine. Just click on new. I'll create one more as immediate payment term, or else I'll create one more schedule. Now we just in this current payment term, whatever we define, total amount will pay within.
30 days.
But generally terms, sometimes we can say 50% within 10 days, remaining 50 in 20 days or 30 days, something like that, right? We'll create that kind of payment term. So we got 3 schedules. 3 times we have to pay. Within 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, by following certain percentage. I'll say 50% you have to pay within 10 days. 25% we have to pay within, I mentioned here, 20 days. Remaining 25% we have to pay within
30.
30. That's it. This kind of payment terms we call as scheduled payment term. Means we have multiple schedules, right? It's not like one go, like one time payment. Okay, there are schedules. Total invoice amount. If I just apply this payment terms to invoice which has 100 rupees amount, that means 50 rupees we have to pay within 10, 25 rupees, 20 days, 25 rupees in. If I apply to 1 lakh, 50,000, 25,000. That depends on invoice has how much amount. Accordingly, the amount will get distributed with the respective schedules. Save it. Okay, just simple payment terms we created with the one schedule. This is the multiple schedules. Okay, yeah, please. I'll come to that point. Still we are working. Okay. I think it's not connecting again. 1 second.
In real time, you have to record this manually also.
Very rare cases. Very rare cases. Generally, all the invoices will be created based on POs and receipt. We'll discuss that when I'm creating. I'll explain that point once again. Okay, fine. Connect again. I think server is not available. There is some internet fluctuations here. Not able to connect to server. Now it's fine. Okay, this we completed. We'll create one more payment terms. Click on this and say call free next 60. Within 60 days, you have to, 100% due, you have to pay within 60 days. So very just long, it's not like just very in short period, some long period. So in this case, supplier can offer us some discount. Basically, we have to pay within 60 days. Supplier can offer some discount. If you pay within week, this is the percent discount you'll get, and if you pay within 10 days, in that case, you can set 3 level of discounts, and only 3 discounts. Okay, we'll see those one by one. Actually, customers, we have to pay in how many days? 60 days. Go to the first discount. Say, supplier is offering 10% discount if you can pay within 5 days. You have to pay within 60, but if you pay within 5 days,
10%
you will get 10% discount. Done. Go to second discount. Take these points. Just select first discount tab. There we are giving 10% if you pay within 5 days. Okay. Second discount. Second discount, say 5% if you pay within 15 days. Second level discount, you can say first level, second level, third level. Second level discount is 5% if you pay within 15 days instead of
60 days.
60 days. Go to third discount. Applicable, if applicable only will be setting, but how to set we are trying to understand. 2% discount if you can pay at least within 30 days instead of 60. Save it. That's all. This is how we can set the discounts. Now we'll create one more payment term. Click on new. Call free immediate payment term. How much due? 100%. You have to pay in how many days? How many days? 0 days. So discount, what is the possibility? How much percentage and in how many days? Tell me.
No discount.
No discount is
100%.
applicable, because if there is some time gap, they can offer some discount to speed up receiving the payments from customer, right? Here, immediately we have to pay. Immediately paying in the sense how supplier can offer the discount. Discount won't be applicable in case of immediate payment, and that's what we have to understand.
You have to read 0 circle. Days.
Sorry,
0.
where
Days.
days 0? Yes, you should give 0 days. That's what system will look for. System will look for. See, system won't understand by writing that test what you are writing. Whenever it see as 0, then it will understand it's immediate payment. When you say 0, which date you are recording, the same date will become due date. That's it. I'll give here 5. Will it be fine?
No.
You should change the name then, right? And this is all about payment terms, how to create. Okay. Now we'll create the distribution sets. In reality, distribution sets are not mandatory. These all are mandatory, but distribution sets are not. The reason? Distribution mandatory for invoice, right? Why then distribution sets are not mandatory in the sense, what is the meaning of it? Anyone? For every invoice, distribution is required. But I am saying distribution sets are not mandatory. How come that statement is true? Tell me from understanding.
Depends upon requirement.
You don't say this, that point to this. Depending on requirement means it's not applicable all the cases. Anyone? Simple, we discussed by spending a lot of time. Manually we can enter.
Yeah, distribution set or a skeleton
We-
and a full set.
Skeleton no. Distribution set can be skeleton or full. I am not talking about that. We discussed the point. What is the meaning of invoice distribution? Another point we discussed distribution set. With the distribution set, you can create the distribution automatically. Otherwise, we have two options. One is automatic creation. Other one is manual. We discussed, right? Same. I am asking this question. You are not answering. Fine. So it's not mandatory, optional, but anyway, for our understanding, to know how to create, how to use it, we'll go and create it. Okay. So payment terms we completed. I will go and create the distribution sets. We'll create one full and one skeleton so that we can understand how the both will be working in the invoice creation process. Okay. Task name is say create distribution sets or set. Take the navigation, setup, invoice, distribution sets. Okay, setup, invoice, distribution sets. Right. Give a name. I'll say all free expense. Okay, distribution set name I'm giving as expense. We'll create full. Full means, what do you mean by full distribution set? Can you give me the statement? Yeah. Next one.
Which have accounts and percentage.
Okay, yes, that's it. Okay, full means we'll be knowing definitely the amount need to be distributed across which accounts as well as how much percentage. If you create the distribution set by specifying the account and percentage, that only we call as full. Even system will identify as a full, that we can see also. Number 1 I am giving, so 50%, let's say 55% should goes to which account in case of some expense. Some administrative labor expenses. Okay. %30. Travel expense. Okay, 45% should goes into some additional expenses take. Okay, burden expense burden means some additional expense. So basically the burden term we use in case of costing and all projects. Let's say it is some additional expense. This is how, like, if depending on scenario what you are dealing, you can select relevant accounts and you can give the percentage. But here you have to understand how to create. That's it. Which accounts and all, you don't need to worry about it. When you are working real time, client will be asking, these are the accounts we have to distribute the amount depending on invoice, which invoice you are creating, and this is the percentage should be get applicable. They'll say, and we have to create like this. I given total how much percentage? 100. One system will identify. See, I given 25, 30. In that case, system won't identify. Given 45, then it counted 100. It is showing type as full. From beginning, it won't show. Whenever system will count here, it is equal to 100. Then it will identify this type as full. Then save it. That's all. Okay, this is all about full distribution set. Now we will create the skeleton distribution set.
What is 8810?
Sorry,
8810.
where we have double 810?
30% we are sitting.
A travel. You take that account just 8810 for testing only, right? You take it and practicing it. I will create one more for skeleton. So employee expense. Just for, I'm taking just for example only. Okay, we make you to understand. Say employee accommodation expense. We don't know how much, so just say 0. Whenever you keep 0 and tab out, it will take as the type. So that's it. Meals expense. Taxi. Okay, think just these 3 expenses only they'll allow. Accordingly, whatever they spend, the particular just there'll be the total amount will be within this 3 type of expense in that case. But they cannot set it how much percentage and all. Definitely these only they'll submit. Assume that the organization will accept only this 3 type of expense. If you take that simple example, you can understand. Okay, done. And save it. That's all. So this is how we can create the distribution set. Close it. Okay, next step, supplier and side. We know very well, right? Already we discussed. Now again, we are not going to discuss very detailed level. Simply just fast track will go and create it. Okay, you know already, right? We discussed detail level and we had some couple of points on that. Again, no need to discuss detail level. Just say create supplier. We'll say create supplier and site. So create supplier and site. Navigation is suppliers entry. Suppliers entry. If you want to create supplier from purchasing, what is the navigation? Supplier base. Supplier. Okay. Here navigation is suppliers entry from payables. From here or there, same form will open, same page will open. How to create supplier? Click on create supplier. We create which supplier from purchasing? Fusion supplier actually. Fusion organization. So here I'll give the name as EBS organization. Already discussed suppliers are two type and all those points we discussed. Now just give the organization name given as EBS organization and click on apply. Supplier will be created. Just we have to create the sites and we have to assign to operators. Then we have to do one more step. What is that?
Payment and purchase.
We have to enable.
Payment and purchase.
We have to set the default payment. Okay, that's it. Okay. Supplier is created and we have to create address, right? Nothing but site. Just click on addresses, address book. It will say create site. Then to create the site you have to click on address book. Okay, just click on address book. Here click on create. Select country. This supplier site is belongs to which country? So country is India. Anyway, this is just for testing. You can put any test. But this address name is important. This name only will get displayed when you are working. Anyway, for every site, client will be giving information to us, which they get from the real supplier. Okay, so that same will be entering here. The complete, it would be very detailed information will be entering. After that, with the relevant to this total address, what is the name you want to select as some alias name, short name for entire address, actual name display. So here I'll say EBS site. Okay, some name I am giving, that's all. Or you can say EBS Hyderabad site. So what is the purpose of the site? You can select, I am selecting for purchasing and payment purpose. Now what is the next step? We have to assign, right? We have to assign the site to supplier operating unit. Somebody is assigned to supplier. Okay. Now if you can select enable that select, that means that site will get assigned to that displayed operating unit. Say enable and say apply. Okay, we have to assign site to operating unit, not to supplier. If you try to assign to supplier, what happens? Supplier says, who are you to assign my site? Something else, right? So we should not do that. Just click on apply. Okay, just click on apply. Then site is created. Now what we have to do? We have to set default payment method. Default payment method, that is the term you have to use. We have to set default payment method. The point also you can make a note. That's how you have to use it when you are speaking. Okay, we have to set default payment method. To set default payment method, go to payment details hyperlink. This is header level or site level?
Header level.
Header level. Site you can say always below. So set default payment terms header level first. So check. I'm saying check. Because see, we are selecting check means always not check. So which method we are following to make the payment, that method you have to select. Okay. Then you can say save. You go to supplier sites, then click on update payment details. Supplier site level also you have to enable. checked. And click on save. Done. And one thing we verified when you created a first supplier, right? What we verified? Liability account and all those accounts are defaulting from supplier. I mean, from where to where?
Financial options.
Financial options to
Software.
supplier site are not verified. Site only here. See here. We go to accounting. But you don't need to check every time, but information you should know that. Okay, this is site. Supplier site. Site name is EBS site. For EBS site, it is getting default. Liability, prepayment. All these accounts. Bills payable, we didn't add that. And distribution set also we didn't provide here. We can set distribution set whatever we created. So distribution set we have. If you select any distribution set, what happens is whenever you select the supplier site, automatically system will take the distribution set for invoice creation. That will test later. Okay. So that's all. Here we are not doing anything. That this supplier also ready. 2 suppliers we have now. Done with this. You can now see how to create the bank account. When you say create bank account, here multiple steps. Okay, so bank account creation, we have multiple steps. Just make a note. First we'll create the, I'll write here better. We'll create bank, and we have to create branch, create account, not directly, set legal entity as bank account owner, and create bank account, create payables documents, and create payment process profile. You want to take as a part of this, you can take up to this as a part of bank account information. When you say create bank account, these are the steps we are going to perform in the system. Okay, fine. Create bank, create branch, set legal entity as a bank account owner, then create bank account, and set create payables documents, nothing but checks. Payables documents, nothing but checks. We'll do one by one. Okay, first we'll go and create the bank. But when you are explaining and all, don't say create bank, create branch, create set this and that. Not required. This is a sequence. Just this is how you have to explain. Okay. First we'll say create bank. Take the navigation. Task name is create bank. Account not create bank. Navigation is setup, payment, banks and bank branches. Setup, payments, banks and bank branches. Okay. So just click on banks hyperlink. Click on. See here, what page this is?
Web page.
Web page not. Yeah, web page correct. Okay. This is cash management page. That means bank related stuff is owned by cash management. The functional belongs to cash management, but the same for the transaction process you can use from payables as well as receivables. From payables to make the payment, receivables to receive the payment, bank accounts are required. So the same is available. Navigation is available from payables and receivables also. Okay, that is the point. Now just click on Banks hyperlink and click on Create. Okay, just click on Create. So you can give the country name. The bank belongs to which country? Say India. Instead of taking very genuine names of banks where we may forget, we'll go with our this testing name only. Call free bank. Rest of all fields are optional. You don't need to fill. Okay. If you click on save and next, it will take you to the bank address. Again, after providing bank address, if you click on save and next, it will take you to the bank address. But basically, those are not mandatory for our testing. Ignore it. Just give the name and give country and name. Then say finish. If you want to practice, when you're practicing, just you can try with that. Okay. Just try, but nothing. All are optional fields. Say finish. So bank is created. Now we have to create the bank branch. Here we have a hyperlink. Bank branches. Click on this. Click on bank branches. Now click on create. Okay. Bank branches. Then click on create. So what is the branch you are going to create? The branch belongs to which bank? The bank belongs to which country? Okay, country is India. Bank is Call Free Bank. Okay, in this country we have this bank. Against that we are going to create one branch. Click on continue. Click on continue. Give branch name. Call Free branch. Okay, everything. Just stop the call. You need to go with the real name. Even if you go with some real names, no advantage. Just you can feel. That's all. But let's do with this. So it's easy for us every time. Whatever we are testing, we don't need to remember all the terms, what names you are doing. Okay. Just give the name. Rest of all are optional. That bank type and all is kind of based on the process and how the things can be managed. They're given that you don't need to change anything. You simply say, if you want to give the branch address and contact, you can click on save next. You can provide address. Again, you can click on save next. You can provide the contact. But anyway, not required. Just say finish. That's what I said. Branch type means depending on their process, what they are doing accordingly, that can be managed. By default, you don't need to set it up. Not required. Whatever systems are trained, accept it. You don't need to do anything with that. That is some different exceptional case. Some cases only that is required. If they come up with saying that we are following this process, that process, if the bank is supporting, then we will be selecting the relevant value and we will be doing that. But otherwise, ignore that value. You don't need to work on it.
In the frequency, API is
Sorry? Sorry? No. Yeah, default value defaulting. There are 3-4 values that depending on what internal process. But when you are doing these setups and all that, you don't need to do that. If they come up with the requirement, this type, that is also just for information purpose only. There is no functionality behind it. The value for identification purpose. That's it. Okay. Right, fine, done. Now we created bank and branch. See here, the bank name you can see, and the branch name you can see here, and bank name is Call Free Bank. Now against this branch, if you want to create account, simply you can click on create account. Otherwise, if you don't want to click on create account here, we have a navigation also to create it. You can take this navigation, or else You click on create. If you click on create account here, see what happens? It will fetch the same information. Country, bank, branch, it will fetch. Then if you click on create, continue, it will allow you to create the bank account. Okay, but if instead of doing this, if you click on bank accounts, all the information you have to enter again. So you click on create, you have to enter country, bank, branch, then only you can create. Okay, so this is how it works. Before we get into this, already we discussed another point, right? We have to make legal entity as a owner. Now this version of application for bank accounts, owner is legal entity. Why legal entity is owner? Because they are running that company with a particular that registration only. Registration only can be treated as a ownership for whatever we are handling, the bank accounts or anything. So now what we have to do is, that's how they given the solution. Legal entity can act as a owner. Legal entity can act as a own bank account owner. To make that legal entity to act as owner, we have to do some registration. We have to do some setups. We have to give some permissions. Simple point. You tell me, like, if you want to make somebody as a owner for some property, what we have to do? You have to do the registration. Where you do the registration? You'll go to the government office, registration office. In the same way, you have to go to some other application here. Okay, let's go to the different application. There only the registration can be done. I mean to say, the privileges can be given to our bank legal entity to act as a owner for our bank accounts. Okay, so we cannot do with the current login. We have to go with the separate login. Okay, log out from the current user, log in as a sysadmin user. From sysadmin user, you can do that without any issues. Okay, so go to this. Point just you can take as, okay, make legal entity as a owner for bank accounts, or else provide grants to legal entity to act as a owner, or say set privileges to bank account to act as a owner. Okay, fine. Set, okay, set or provide privileges to legal entity to act as a bank account owner. Username is sysadmin, password also sysadmin. However, we go to the separate office called as registration office. Here also we have a responsibility called as user management. Okay, so you have to go to user management responsibility to perform this activity. Okay, which application? So application at responsibility, user management. Here we have user management. Select it. Log into system as a sysadmin user. Username sysadmin, password is sysadmin. Then username is responsible name is user manager. Just click on that. This is a completely web-based application. So you can click on any one of the function. All are web pages. See here, icon representation, right? If icon represent, if you see in graphical representation, that is form. So something notepad kind of representation, always refer web page. That already discussed in initial classes. You can click on any one of the function. It will open the web pages. Web-based application. Okay. To complete this setup, you have to go to roles and role inheritance. Even from here also, there also you can click. Go to home. Click on home to go back. From here also directly you can click on that. The same page will open. Roles and role inheritance. Okay. Go to user management, select function called as roles and role inheritance. Select that function name. Now here, after selecting, what we have to do is, here we have search section, right? Search type. Select as roles and responsibilities. Select it. Type is roles and responsibilities, and category. Select as a miscellaneous. Now I have question. If you are going to registration office, means you are not sitting in your home and you are not doing registration, right? For registration purpose, we'll go to registration office only. In the same way, we cannot make the legal entity as owner by sitting in our accounts payables or account receivables. We have to go to user management. Once you go to the registration office, can you get it done, that registration work?
No.
No, right? How that can be done? With the help of some agent, right? Anyway, registration officer will be there, but agent support. Can you take a specific agent or any agent? Any agent. Specific definitely will be selecting one, but options will be available, right? Think there are 3 4 agents, you can select one. The same in our application also, when you are going to do this registration, I mean to say this process, you have to do through particular application. Okay, through specific application. You may do it through payables or through receivables. Means the bank account can be used in which applications, by selecting any one of the application you can do it. Now here you have to select the, you want to do this registration through which application you have to select. Application means always here responsibility, through responsibility will be handling, right? Here you give your responsible name. I'll say call free accounts payable. Done, enough. I want to write full name, that system will take. Then click on go. Okay, fine. Click on go. And click on go. Getting displayed, right? Okay. You type as roles and responsibility, categories miscellaneous, and you want to complete these privileges to legal entity through which responsibility? This responsibility. We generally don't do with other responsibilities. The bank account access we can have from payables, receivables, and cash management. It's not like GL and FA will be selected. We never use bank account in GL and FA, right? Okay. But again, payroll related applications we can use it, but anyway, that's not relevant to us. Select payables since we are working on payables, and it's applicable for payables bank account usage. Now click on update. Okay, just click on update. And now click on security wizards tab. Click on update, then click on security wizards. Okay, click on security wizards tab here. Okay, we don't need to save anything, but system is asking us to save. Okay, save. Okay, just say save and proceed. You can see 2 security wizards here. Security wizards. What are those? CE, UMX security wizard. Other one is user management security administration center. We require this wizard. CE means cash management. Okay. UMX means user management. That is the meaning. Okay. So security wizard. Okay. Just click on run wizard against CEUMX security wizard. Just click on this run wizard icon. Okay, just click on run wizard. Okay,
Add
and click on add legal entities. Take all the points. Add legal entities. Okay, just search for your legal entity.
Policy.
Yeah,
Policy.
call free India. Yeah, let's search with the call free. Select and say sir. Now I'll ask one more question. Okay, for registration we don't do at home. We'll go to the
Registration.
same way we are going to user manual. There through some agent will do it. Here through some application will do it. And when you do the registration, what type of registration will be there? It's like the property can be used by the person only that. And otherwise the person will have all the rights to sell to other person, right?
Yes.
Different privileges the person can have in the process of registration. The same way here also. See here we have a different privileges. Use. Okay, use privileges. Other one is bank account maintenance. Other one is bank account transfers. Bank account transfers means this legal entity can have a ownership to transfer that means this legal entity can provide the rights to the bank accounts to transfer the funds which are under that legal entity. For which bank account this bank is legal entity is owner. Okay, say there are 10 bank accounts. For 10 bank accounts, this legal entity has a ownership. So within the 10 operate legal entities, bank accounts, if you want to transfer the funds, first of all, this legal entity should be qualified for that kind of transfers. The same way maintenance means you can create, and this means just you can use it. So just for now set everything, but when you are working on cash management, again we'll discuss on this point and we'll do respectively. Okay. So we are giving full privileges. Use, maintain, and use bank. You will be able to transfer the funds from one account to another account. For which bank account this legal entity is going to be owner. That's it. Just click on apply. Okay, just click on apply. Again click on apply. Okay, the three roles only, whatever we assign, the system just showing us these are the permissions or these are grants. Okay, all are same. Permission, grants, or privileges, or everything the same. Just you can understand. Say apply. Done. The task is completed here. Okay. Update to rows. No, you ignore it. That won't impact. Now you can log into the instance. Okay. All free. Go to accounts payables. Open it. Okay, fine. This task will do tomorrow. Again, we have to discuss and we have to do it. It may take more than 10 minutes. We'll do it tomorrow, not an issue. Okay. And let's do one thing every day. So let see what we'll do is we'll plan every day one person will be giving the presentation afternoon time. Let's do in this way. At least few people, at least for that reason, they'll take initiative. Okay. And just tell me like who can give presentation today afternoon around 3 o'clock. Anyone. Okay. Can give presentation on which concept?
Invoice times.
Invoice
Invoice times.
types. Okay. Fine. You can give presentation on invoice types. And who are going to attend for that? That is 50% hard work. Attending, if you are attending again next discussions, that is 50%. Again, you can interact. You can speak to them. You can ask some cross questions, right? We'll be explaining. You can ask some questions. Again, you can get into the discussions. And I request you, everyone, to speak in English only when you talk about subject. If you are comfortable, other things also speak in English. That will become keep adding as your experience when you're in the workplace. Really, I'm telling. But subject point of view, always speak in English. I am hearing sometimes people are discussing very well in Telugu. Very well. The terms are really funny terms and all. They are speaking. Nowhere they can use it. Nowhere. Nobody will listen to that. Your experience will be limited to Telugu speaking Oracle core financials. But speak in English. Okay. Other person may speak with you in Telugu, but you speak in English at least. Yeah, respond in English or ask in English. Okay, subject. What are the subject you are learning? What are your subject you are discussing? Speak. Try in English. That really. Why am I telling you to try in English? The terms, the English terms will be very flexible. The statements, the what are the content you are speaking. That will be stored in your where it will be stored there. Okay. Say you're in your just mind just where just it will get recorded whenever you try it, it's automatically start playing. Okay, that is the reason. Speak when you talk about subject, always speak in English. When you give presentation, if somebody has some doubt when you are practicing, people 2-3 people go and they'll be discussing, they'll be speaking Telugu. Of course, Telugu is very sweet, but we have to speak in English even it is so to get sweet results, right? So that is the reason. Please try in English only. Any discussions or presentations or doubts, discussions, anything, subject related, everything. Please try in English. So that gives some experience tomorrow when you go for interview or when you speak with a client or when you speak with a colleague. In your subject related, whatever you will be delivering, they can see the confidence. That is the reason. That means you are not going to speak to them in English first time about the subject. If you are speaking about the same subject 10 times in English, in institute in English, Telugu. 11th time you are trying to speak in English, that will become but first time only in English. 10 times in Telugu, but 11th time reality, but 11th time first time in English. Again, zero experience. So that is the reason. Please try everything in English only. Subject related, everything try in English. See, earlier we have appointed one office boy. His job is he will be inspecting. If somebody speaks in Telugu, we'll get some complaints and we'll sit one-to-one discussion. We'll do like that. That's what we did also. But some people just attitudes are something different. So we felt okay, let them go ahead in their own way. You see the boards also we kept everywhere. Please speak or discuss only in English. We kept on the board. I don't know like how many people are seeing following. Okay, really, if you follow that, you'll see good results. Really, that's required for this kind of courses. Okay, max speak in English when you talk about subject. That's it. Okay, so today you are going to give presentation on all invoice types. Okay, there's few guys who are going to attend. Okay, for that you just prepare. You have to read and get ready with that. It's not like just very simple way. You take some example, anything, just take simple example and explain and give the statement as the definition and all. That would be really good. And for today you can give. Tomorrow we'll be giving. In tomorrow's session we'll decide. And anyway, the next session, whatever the session we have, we'll be doing. And I request you to come to institute tomorrow and after tomorrow also. Remember, of course you remember always, but again I am telling. Please remember, you didn't get offer. Right? You didn't get offer. If you get offer, in that case also you have to come to institute. Okay, to retain that offer. Okay, you didn't get offer. At least to get offer, you come here, spend time. Saturday, Sunday, see, most of the people are not working. Even working people, at least they can come in the weekends. When you come to the institute, the way how you will be spending time is very important. Just after coming, don't sit in front of system to practice all the time. You just spend and just allocate your time. You are coming to institute, say you are going to spend 6 hours in institute. Then plan those 6 hours how to spend. Say 4 hours for practice, no issues. 1 hour for presentation, 1 hour for discussion, maybe 10 minutes for reading note. Within that, before we get into the discussion, read your note. Then you will come up with many points. When you discuss and you include those points in your discussion, the same will come out in the presentation. That's how you should plan, please. Every day minimum 10 minutes if you give presentation will be 100% perfect in the subject. Every 10 minutes presentation. Many people are spending hours by sitting in front of system and practicing. From that, if you can take 10 minutes time for presentations, you'll be good enough. Okay, so that the kind of knowledge only the people are looking for to hire their choice. Okay, so please try to implement all these practices. Really, that will help you a lot. Okay, fine then. See you in the next session. Okay, 3 o'clock we will be giving the presentation, right? If I get time, I'll be attending the session. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.